Hey guys, what's up? This is Twisted Mind. This is our raw capture footage of our first kill on Heart of Fear, Windlord Mel'jarak. This is a really fun fight, in my opinion, because it has a lot of variables and it has a lot of different approaches to it, which, I don't know, to me that makes it more interesting. It's better than the monotony of like, oh, follow this guy, do this, do these steps. So the way this fight works is when you pull him, you'll notice that he's standing in the middle of the room, but he's surrounded by three sets of three ads. The bulk of the beginning of the fight is managing these ads. What you're given is they are able to be CC'd by like other classes abilities, like if you have like Lift Fear, Polymorph, that kind of thing. But there are some weapon racks on the wall, and what you do when you pick one up is you get an extra action button. As you can see right here, I have an extra action button on my screen, and when I'm clicking my macro, I can easily re-CC the target that I'm supposed to manage. So the thing with the CC is you're only allowed to do that to 4 targets. If you try to do it to another, like if you try to do it to 5 targets, or you try to do something like that, the boss himself will break out all the CC. That's only assuming that all 9 ads are up. If you do kill 3 of the ads, that number of ads you're able to CC drops to 2. So managing how you kind of kill the ads, you can maybe try some strategy where you zerg them all down at once or something. If you have really strict assignments on them, you could maybe try a strategy where you like really stagger them out, although I think you're going to brush the enrage pretty hardcore if you do that. I mean, it basically just seems like there's options here, and I kind of like that. So what do these ads do? That's the thing that we're kind of dealing with in this phase mechanically. As you can see here, these little orange pools on the ground, these the way they're being created is the debuff I have right now. I'm running around because the debuff does damage to me while it's on me like a dot, but it only falls off when you start moving. So you kind of want to place some cluster together, as you saw the path I took, as I kind of just like jumped around where it was. That's kind of how you want to work with it. And then the other thing that is going out is people are getting trapped in amber. If you saw, I freed one of our healers from it earlier, and what that does is it debuffs me from freeing them again for a minute. This is being caused by the amber trappers. Now, in order to make sure our entire raid doesn't quickly get the debuff for being trapped in amber, we only have one of these guys up at the moment, and the other 2 are sitting in a CC. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to burn that ad down first, because the quicker we can get him down, the quicker we can stop ignoring that mechanic, as these ads did prove to us to be the most troublesome. Okay, so then after that, you see in my debuff frames, people are getting this charge. That charge is called Korthic Strike, and it's coming from these guys called Korthic Elite Blade Masters. Now, as you can see here, I'm doing a good job of putting shields on people. See right now, I put a shield on the person, and then I precast a heal so it goes off right as they get hit. This is a physical strike, so the people who are wearing cloth are going to get hit harder, but what we found is people can pretty much take 2 of those and still live through it, even if I don't have a shield on it. If they're close to topped, they're not going to die. But if they take hits from all 3 of those guys, they're going to die. So we have one of those guys CC'd in the back to make sure that they don't get hit by all 3 of them. And then the other ad that's up is called Battle Menders. What they do is they cast this really slow heal. It's easy to interrupt. It's a slow cast. So we have all of our melee DPS like very strictly assigned with focus macros to what these guys are doing their heals. And then the other thing that they're doing, this is something I'm also watching out for, is they're putting this magic debuff on magic buff on the bosses and the other ads, and it's called Quickening. What it does is it increases their damage done and their melee haste. So as you see here, I just like lost a tank. The reason we lost him is because I fell behind on the spells, and the amount of damage that was going out to him was like getting to unhealable, and he just quickly got like taken out of the air. That's on me. So it's really important that if you do leave these menders up, you at least have some classes that can offensively dispel. Now, as you can see here, what we did is we killed the amber wave first, and what this does is it increases the boss's damage taken, and it also increases his damage done, which means his abilities that you can kind of get away with ignoring in the beginning become a lot more dangerous. So one of them, it's called Whirling Blade. He'll point at you and then he'll fling his weapon at you. You want to get good at like looking up off of your frames or whatever and looking at that boss's animation, because he'll point pretty obviously at where he's going to throw his weapon, and then he throws it out, but it doesn't go in a perfectly straight line. It kind of arcs back to him. So you kind of get used to it if you play around with it, but basically you don't want to get hit by that twice. Like, you know, getting hit by it once sometimes is unavoidable. If you're like really like focusing on something or hardcore tunneling, but if you get hit by it twice in the later phase, you're probably going to die. The other thing he does, which is on a perfect 50-second timer, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to maximize my Spirit Shell uptime on this ability. It's called Rain of Blades. What Rain of Blades does is it just AoE physical damages on everybody in the raid, just like It's a very, very high burst, high healing in the later phases because the more damage he gets, the more cooldowns are going to be required there. So the way that I'm personally handling it as a Disc Priest is, since it's a 50-second cooldown and my Spirit Shell is only a minute cooldown, I'm trying to start by having it up way in advance, and then as time goes on, I'll slowly move closer and closer to actually casting it during his Rain of Blades, because it's still effective to cast it during Rain of Blades. Like, it's giving my other healers like a hang time on everybody's health pools and allowing them to get more heals on them. So it's effectively like doing more healing than if I would have just like left it off and tried to spam through that damage with raw healing. So that's how I'm trying to handle it. We're really carefully trying to like manage our cooldowns for this last phase because, all right, so the way we did it for our comp, and your comp may vary, you may try different things. We killed the Amber guys first in one wave, and then we killed all the other all the other guys second. And the people we left in a CC were a healer and one of the melee guys that like zerg people and try to like run them out. And then what we tried to do is we downed all of those. Once they were all down, then we pushed the boss and we tried to make sure he stayed above 75% of his health, because as you can see here in this last phase, once he dips below 75% health, that's when he starts putting these bombs on the ground. If you stand in a bomb, it should be an instant wipe. I mean, that's what the mechanic is. You'll see here that it actually wasn't for our group, and I'll explain that as it happens. But what's happening here is you want to try to place the bombs right next to each other, and you also don't want to block yourself out. As you can see, it's not like an instant immediate blow up. You have a little bit of time to move out because they need to take time to arm. But this really, like in this phase when it's important to be dodging his weapon and to like be doing however you want to heal the Rain of Blades, cutting down your space to work with him is really tight. And then we also found, since we're 3 healing this, to be a really tight enrage. Like, we're brushing the enrage in this encounter. Okay, so here's what happens here, and as far as a mistake goes. I don't have a cooldown up for this like next Rain of Blades. I'm way unprepared for it, so I drop a barrier. We run in. Barrier is one of those things my raiders just like run to, like without me asking. So we drop a barrier. As soon as I heal, I need to get out because a bomb is only dropped in the ranged. But as you can see here, it was dropped on our heals and our melee stand in it, and it blows up. So that's what it looks like when a bomb blows up. We have 2 deaths to here, and we're already really getting close to the Berserk. You can see right in the middle of the screen, the Berserk timer is ticking down slowly and slowly. So any second that I spend that isn't doing DPS is like slowly more probably pushing us into the Berserk and Rage, and we have hit this so many times tonight, I don't want to go into it again. So here I am, I get out just enough. The Rain of Blades is about to happen, but I'm not going to do like all my pre-shielding tricks because I just want to like get through. I want to kill him, but it looks like we're not going to do it in time. So I decide right about at this time that I need to start doing pre-shielding, but I get a weapon thrown at me, so it makes me move, and all of a sudden I can't get pre-shields up. So here I am crossing my fingers that the other healers have some sort of trick up their sleeves to like keep everybody alive. One of the tricks was a Spirit Link Totem. I wasn't standing in it, and our other healer was in the back and also couldn't stand in it, but it doesn't matter because that's what the Enrage looks like. He does another Rain of Blades. However, let's look at the end of that in slow motion because I thought we were going to wipe, and I pressed my stop capture button because I use a recording program because I thought, crap, another wipe, and I hit it out of anger really soon. But then we just barely killed him. Let's look at the slow motion end of that fight. So here we are getting down to the wire. I throw out a binding heal and tank myself after taking the hit from the weapon. Move in. Rain of Blades is about to happen. I'm way unprepared. Try to get shields up on people. Here comes that Spirit Link Totem. Something that I probably could have done before that. I was too busy like popping all my cooldowns, but if I would have gotten out of Prayer Mending, we might have been able to save the healer that goes down here. And then this is the Enrage. He just starts swirling blades on everybody. There's nothing you can do but check it out, the 2 tanks. Both tanks, one of them is a Death Knight, has Purgatory, the other one is a Warrior, and he has this demoralizing roar up, so they're both taking less damage, and Rain of Blades is physical. So what actually happens here is that Enrage goes off. Both of them manage to stay alive just long enough through it to fork away that last little chunk of his health, because you can see, like, look at the health at the top here. Like, look how close we are to just, like, not making it as he enrages. Like, honestly, the Enrage should have happened sooner, but he was already stuck in a Rain of Blades, so we actually bought like a second or 2 of time. and then boom, Purgatory goes off on the Death Knight, but he's still alive. He has a couple seconds of DPS, and that's all we need, like 3 seconds. So um, this is another encounter that pushed us to the brink of the limits in terms of like meeting the enrage. So hopefully it goes smoother for you guys. But keep in mind we did have 2 deaths, DPS deaths at the end.